Hi, how are you? That's not my real voice. That's my cowboy voice. Speaking of Cowboys, I'm a Cowboys fan. And I was reading Dallas Cowboys. I was reading on X. I saw something that was pretty interesting. So, as you may know, Donald Trump has been elected as our 47th president of America. And I'm reading on Twitter, or X as it now is, and there was some people that was commenting, hey, now since Trump's in office, can we change the Washington Commanders back to the Washington Redskins? For all of my adult and childhood life, Washington football team has always been the Washington Redskins. Now, there's a part of me as a Cowboys fan, I really haven't felt threatened by the Redskins, even though the Cowboys are pretty much trash this year. I've had more of kind of a bitter jealousy towards the Eagles and the Packers, and especially the 49ers. But yeah, I would like Washington to be the Redskins again. And there was people that was like saying, "Hey, since Trump's back in office, can we change the Commanders back to the Redskins again?" I'm all for it. Not that my opinion matters, but that's just what I know. That was just normal. It's weird seeing Washington with just a W on their helmet. It's kind of the other night I was playing Madden, and it wasn't this year's Madden, but last year's Madden. And I was going through the different alternate uniforms of the Commanders, just kind of hold my breath hoping that the old Redskin was going to be there again. Just like the creamsicle Tampa Bay uniform. It's and the Denver Broncos with the D on their helmet and the little pony and the D. Like that's my I love those jerseys because that's what it was when I was watching TV. Those were the teams that were playing, not what I see now. And Commanders is I know they kind of kept that color scheme, but it's just it's just not the same. It's just not. And I'll be honest with you, when I was a kid, Washington Redskins, and I'm trying to do geography in my head as a young kid. I remember thinking Washington, like the state, like I wasn't like Washington D.C. There being a football team based out of Washington D.C. made no sense to me. Like Washington D.C. isn't a city. It's not even a state. It's like its own entity. Like it just hovers above America, governing us. It's not a tangible geographical place. So as a kid, my stupid mind was like, Washington Redskins. Wow, they're all the way over there in California. Cowboys got to go across the country to play them, which technically they do with them being in Washington D.C. Um, I say all that to say this: social media is so cool. Social media is so fun. Um, like those kinds of discussions can take place, and people can communicate one another. And some dude, like for all I know, the guy that posted that and started that off was like some guy that lives in could be in Washington D.C. And here I am, some podunk Southern guy, reading that, going, "Yeah, yeah, I agree." As a Dallas Cowboys fan, I stand shoulder to shoulder with you. I'm glad that your franchise is not as good as mine, which this year's a different story. Jaden Daniels is lighting it up at Washington, and the Cowboys are floundering. But I stand shoulder to shoulder with you. When you Social media is so cool, but I was also kind of reminiscent of the old medium, the old cable TV medium, right? Like like it's kind of boring to go back to cable TV. Like I was watching TV today, cable TV today, and it was a news talk show, and it was a round table, and all these people were talking about just kind of it was like a stupid conversation, really, which most of the news is now, just stupid conversation. And this lady kind of got tripped up on her words, and she like said 5 words at the end of her sentence that, be straight up with you, I don't even know what she said. And nobody on the panel, I think, understood what she said, because when she got done saying whatever she was, like some elvish dialogue, they all kind of like did that fake laugh. And you could tell it was a fake laugh because, like, a minute or two later into the panel discussion, one of the guys actually makes a pretty funny joke, a little zinger there, and you could tell the difference between the laughs, which one was fake, which one was real. But I'm like, there was a part of me that immediately like clicked on my phone because I'm watching cable TV on my phone, through YouTube TV, and I click on my phone and I'm trying to find the comments button to like see, like, even chat, like, hey, did anybody else catch that? Like, that was ridiculous. Like, the camera pans in on her and she's speaking Elvish or whatever, some other language, something orcs. I just finished the Fellowship of the Ring yesterday, so everything just ties in with that kind of stuff. I even debated on pipe smoking, like just coming home in the evening and after the kids go to bed, just go out on the back deck and light it up, man. Just real, tobacco, right? Um, I got on my work computer and I was like typing in, like, I was just curious how much pipes go and where to even start in that world of tobacco, other than like cigarettes and dip, or chewing tobacco. But I just typed in like, hey, how do you make your own pipe? I think it'd be cool. We made our kitchen table out of our pecan tree that was in our yard. I didn't make it. I paid somebody to make it, but I just took the wood from that and he made me a cool kitchen table. And so I'm kind of on that vein thinking, I bet you there's enough stinking wood around my place that I could find enough to make a pipe out of. That'd be pretty cool. And so I was on the work computer and I was like, how to make a homemade pipe? And I clicked on the first one and started scrolling through, and it was like the first one was an apple. And I was like, I don't want to smoke. That's not relaxing. And so I scrolled down again and it was like a dude had took some tinfoil and rolled up a tinfoil, and then I got to realize this is like for not for leisure. Like, this is straight up. I gotta smoke something to alter my brain, my mind. I mean, it was like for marijuana, or yeah, I guess marijuana. I mean, you gotta smoke. You gotta use different pipes for different illegal drugs, right? Like meth and stuff like that. Like, they got like glass pipes, but like I've seen them at like Indian gas stations, and the glass cabinet right there at the front where you pay for everything. Like, the pipes just look different. Like, I think the marijuana pipes are like tie-dyed and swirled and pretty cool ornate designs. Whereas like meth is like just a glass cylinder, like from a lab, like a lab thing. It's like, this is not beautiful. This is not romantic. Like, you need your animalistic fix. Here it is, brought to you in part by Glass Company. Um, I go on that long tangent to say this. Cable TV is just not, obviously not like watching YouTube. It's not like any kind of social media. And I think that's why I don't know the numbers. Like I said, this channel is called Drive By Roman. So I'm just driving by, just people may watch more cable news than I realize. Me, not so much. I only subscribe to it for a couple months a year, and it's this time of year when I can't be outside as much, and it's kind of nice to come in and sit down and watch a football game, um, pro and collegiate. And just kind of watch it up to the Super Bowl, then just yank it. And by that time, it's more comfortable to go outside, and it's just, there's things to do besides just sit there on the couch watch TV. But but as I kind of turn the page of the social media world, and especially like YouTube and the engagement and all this kind of stuff, I was reminded today that the substrate, the foundation of weirdness and cheapness and bottom feeder of cable TV is kind of creeped into YouTube. And what I mean by that is like the ads, and the ads are ridiculous. Like I have ads asking me of people walking around and they're going, "We'll buy your house. We will buy your house." And I know they're just like wholesalers, right? Like we'll pay your house is 200 grand and we'll give you 30 grand for it. Like it's just crazy low prices. And it's not for people that want to sell their house. It's for people that like just got to get rid of a house that like I don't want to pay taxes on anymore. I don't want to renovate. Just freaking take it, and you can take it at a low price. And that wholesaler, like any wholesaler, that's what wholesaling is they buy cheap and then they sell it like, for a profit, 5, 10, 15, sometimes a lot more. That's a like you pick around that wholesale wormhole and you will it will wreck your algorithm. But but yeah, I get hit up with ads like that. I get hit up with these bad AI ads. And it used to get on my nerves, but now it cracks me up. And it starts it off by like this lighter. Amazon's gonna hate this, and it's like an electric lighter app, or ad. And I'm like, yeah, Amazon's gonna. Their knees are just buckling. The fact that you're pushing and selling an electric lighter. Like who? I guess back to tobacco again. Who smokes anymore? I mean, who really uses a lighter? I use a lighter to light a burn pile, but I mean, who regularly carries a lighter with them? I guess obviously tobacco smokers, but most smokers nowadays do the vape stuff. Like it's like a car battery with a nozzle on the end of it. You can tell vapors because it's just like some big thing they hold in their hand, and then there's little ones, little one hitters. They all kind of come in different shapes and different sizes. I remember when vaping first got real big, and the guy in front of me, like I just saw like plumes or just a lot of smoke coming out the cracked window of a vehicle in front of me at a red light, and I'm like, that dude, that guy's on fire. And then I was like, no, that guy's smoking. I was like, how in the world can he take a hit like that? And I'm like, the guy's gonna be dead in like 3 days, right? If you're like smoking that, if that much smoke is coming out of going through your lungs and out your mouth, there's no way you're gonna be among us very long. But hey, I don't know much about the vaping stuff. Um, where was I going with that? Oh, but yeah, all these ads, it reminds me of cable TV. Another ad is the one about about your free government check or something like that. Like if you're ever sick in the early 2000s, if you were sick in the 90s, or you had to go over to your grandma's house during the day during the summer, those ads are constant and were constant. And now my Facebook is like, or not my Facebook, my YouTube is just full of that stuff, full of that stuff, of those kinds of ads. And people say, well, it's because you search that stuff out. You see, I don't look up electric lighters. I guess since I looked up how to make a homemade pipe, it ties into that. But I was getting the Amazon's gonna hate this electric lighters before then. Um, and kind of makes kind of like, are there a lot of people that are selling their house for crazy cheap? Is there a lot of people that are buying these? They're the cheap everything's military grade with them. The lighter people. Like I got one that goes, "Don't be a child, be a man, and wear more than layer, like opposing layers. Like, hey, if you buy this one pullover, you'll never need it. You'll never need an undershirt. You'll never need a jacket. This pullover is military grade strength level warmth, and it's also stylish. Those military ads. It's not for the actual U.S. military. They're just products, and they got a guy in like cargo pants standing by a jeep, like trying to push the sale of this flashlight on you or lighter or whatever. I just not a deep thought today. Just curious. Just curious. Is anybody buying these products? And also, I just find it funny how no matter how the medium of is given to us or shown to us, there's always going to be the bottom, in the substrate of the medium, the foundation of it is going to be riddled with, if it's open for anybody to make money on it, is always going to be riddled with those type of weird commercials, those type of weird entrepreneurs or businesses. Um, I'm just kind of curious. How does I mean, obviously those kinds of companies they're like a big like Johnson and Johnson, or you know what I mean, like those big companies that own several different companies like Disney and Kellogg, or you know whatever. They own different brands, and but those companies are so big that it just makes more sense. Like Facebook did Instagram, and Twitter didn't Twitter buy Periscope or something. But I don't know. How did that work? How did Periscope work out? Obviously, it got bought by Twitter, but is that feat? Is do people still do that? I don't know. I haven't heard that in forever. Obviously, they cease to be. Well, they don't cease to be a company. I'm rambling again. But yeah, just a little thought, just a how fun um how fun the medium is that we have today. Just a little Friday thought. But yeah, definitely. Can Trump change the Commanders back to the Redskins? I'll answer that. I started off with that. No, he cannot. It's a private owned um franchise. Josh or John Harris, I think, guy that owns the 76ers, and he co-owns it with Magic Johnson of the Lakers. That Magic Johnson. So, why they even changed their name back in the day was because the sponsors, they said we're not gonna, like, it was basically all came down to money. Just like people voting in this election the other day, it came down to money. When the rubber hits the road, it all leads to money. You can make people do anything by taking money away or giving money to them. Um, it's kind of weird that we're slaves. Um, it's kind of a it's kind of a strange thing, especially when when we spend most of our day working for working for somebody else. We're making them very rich, by the way. And excuse me. And then we spend like all day just looking towards the end of our day. And then we look forward to taking the money that we earn and just buying something else, like making turn around and just giving it to the very people that we've been working for. It's very, very strange how capitalism has um, really changed our society. I mean, I had no idea. I had no plan to get here, but here we are. Um, Capitalism has really made every town look the same. And I like making money. Man, I have a little side. I've had side businesses. I have a side business. Like I'm not opposed to making money, but I just think it's gotten to the point now um where people aren't challenged creatively. People aren't challenged to be creators anymore. People are only challenged to be consumers. It's really odd how our mind, like, we have forfeited liberty just for the sake of consuming. Like we would rather consume than create. And I believe we've really lost our liberty there. We've really lost, because that's a funny thing too, is people will be like, "Well, I'm a conservative. I'm a conservative." I'm like, "Okay. Uh, do you have a mortgage? Yeah, yeah. Do you have a car payment? Yeah, yeah. You have credit card debt? Yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, you're not really conservative. Like, well, you say, well, I'm not fiscal conservative. I'm not a fiscal conservative guy. Okay, but I mean, how can you say that you're you're all for liberty and freedom and conservatism if you don't live your life like that. Does that point make I don't know, I'm not sticking the landing here. Regardless, if you want the Redskins to be the Redskins again, just threaten to pull money away from Magic Johnson and Harris and in the Washington football franchise. If not, they're going to stay the Commanders. But I don't know. I mean, people, it's like Bud Light. Yeah, Bud Light changed its course on campaigning and marketing, all because people flipped out about that dude that dressed like a girl. And when people flipped out, it was like, no, screw Bud Light. We, you know, you can say whatever, but when you start having a dude as a girl, tell me to buy a Bud Light, I ain't doing it. I ain't following that. So and Bud Light, did a 180 and changed. They lost a lot of money, but it definitely changed. So it all goes back to money. You want the Redskins? Hit them in the billfold. If not, they're the Washington Commanders, and they're definitely going to beat the Cowboys this year. Have a good weekend.